Hey, good morning, folks. Coming to you live from a scenic red maple swamp, and we'll get into all that as the video progresses. But I'm gonna keep the the location vague for this. We're in a red maple swamp. We'll talk about that whole thing. We'll get into some of the stuff growing here, because indeed there are some interesting stuff. There is some interesting stuff in here already, just as I'm walking in. We're searching for a really rare orchid, one that was not historically known for pretty much anywhere in New England except for one or two sites in Vermont. Recently, it was rumored to occur around this region, and we're just gonna go take a look. I kind of have a couple sites in mind. Probably visit this one, maybe one other one. It's early in the morning. I got my waders on. There's no real trail through any of these areas, and with all due luck, all things considered, we might find it. But even if we don't, we'll still make a good video. And if it's not here, I can get into a little bit more detail about where we're at. We're just gonna kind of get the lay of the land first, and I'll come back. You get some really nice unfriendly plants in here, and swamps are always interesting to fuck around in. So we'll see what's going on. I'll check back in a bit. So this here looks pretty promising. This is the type of habitat we're looking for. That's why I got my waders on today, because we're gonna kind of meander along the edge of this. We're gonna take a look in the sphagnum. That's where the species is supposed to be growing. And like I said, if it's here, it's here. If it's not, yeah, we'll still talk about some interesting stuff. Not really seeing much red maple. Plenty of white pine in here. Plenty of yellow birch, which again, I'll cover in more detail in a bit. That's no shortage of that. Ooh, Mondo slug, right there. That's nice. And what you got over here? You get some little violas, Viola palens. This was at a site that I saw Legodium palmatum, so maybe it's good luck. This is a nice little area, well off the beaten path, not really someplace I've ever come out to, but first times you gotta start somewhere. I don't know where I was going with that metaphor, but anyway, put this camera back away. I'm gonna get in there. Just really spent some time exploring, so you'll have to pardon me. I'll check in with you in a bit. I just don't want to risk losing the camera or nothing. Man, Jesus Christ, with all the other bad goddamn luck I feel like I'm having in my life right now, I've been on a roll with this plant shit. It's not even May, and we're just burning through target plants this year. Not to jinx it, I'm very grateful. This is Neotia Bifolia. Not much to look at now because the thing's still in bud. Don't worry, we've only been at this less than an hour. This is a huge, unbroken swamp that we're exploring. We're gonna look around. We're gonna see what's going on. But this is the first one I saw. It seems to be alone. Of course, I kind of just been verifying that this is in fact what I think it is. This plant, like I said, this is only known from maybe like a couple spots in northern New England. This is the Southern Twayblade. Alright, this is one of a group of orchids colloquially known as Twayblades. Neotia, Liparis, they all used to be in one genus, I think. And then they kind of split them up. So this one ended up in the genus Neotia. You get a couple other ones. You get the Orchid Twayblade and the Heartleaf Twayblade, Neotia auriculata, and the Neotia cordifolia. This is the Southern Twayblade. This is Bifolia. Easy to see how it gets that name with those two little leaves popping up out of the stem there. Weird little... I'll have to come back. If I can't find any in bloom, I'll have to come back and just get some good shots of what the flowers look like. Real weird. Look like little upside down, like devil's horns. Reddish brown color to them. This thing's only about maybe 2.5, 3 inches tall. Tiny little diminutive orchid. And it's one of those ones like Malaxis bayardii where it might actually be quite a bit more common than what people think it is. I know that they just discovered a population out there on Martha's Vineyard, like back in like 2001, and a couple other people claim to have sites. And the habitat type that this occurs in, this maple holly birch. I mean, I guess there's some birch. There's plenty of white pine here too. This sort of, we'll say, loosely red maple swamp type is very common, but there's specific stuff. You have to get into the soil chemistry of it to know. I guess somebody found, they've been finding a few more populations of this. So it might not actually be, that rare in New England. It's rather abundant down south, but it can occur in a number of habitat types, which is super interesting, because where this is known to grow in New England is pretty damn far from here, and pretty damn far from here, and pretty different in terms of composition. It's grows in more of like an open wetland setting. This is obviously a pretty damn dense swampy forest. This isn't even where I expected it to be. So if on the odd chance you're one of those people who I know has posted this from a new EO on iNet, just know that where I'm at right now doesn't really match the description of where you claim you saw it. If on the very, very odd chance you watch this video. Nobody fucking gave me the population for this. You put it together. You got to learn sympatric speciation. I'll cover some of the sympatric species. I just want to take we could talk about the pines and the holly in here all day long. Let's go see if we can find this guy a little further along. Jeez, I've been at this maybe an hour at this point, 45 minutes when I got here. So I just want to make sure I mark this carefully, that I know where I'm coming back to, take some good habitat shots. I'll post this up on iNet. Maybe this is just another new location for it. This is what I came out here looking for. I figured the habitat type was right, time of year was right, maybe a little early. It's an early bloomer, don't get me wrong, but this is the first orchid I've captured this year, still April. So that, oh my God, like that just, what do you say? What do you say when you, like, who the hell's studying this stuff other than hobbyists? Go out in your backyard. I mean, maybe I'm setting unrealistic expectations, but you never know what you're going to find just trampsing around the woods behind your house. Because how long has this place been settled? There's been people studying botany here since literally the dawn of the science, and yet new discoveries get made seemingly every year. Even in New England, where there's been a pretty stable flora. I talked about this a bunch of times. Smilax Sparrowii was the same way. That wasn't described until like 1930 something. This plant is I wouldn't say common down south, but certainly much more common down south than it is up here in New England. Again, only known from a couple sites, some of which were discovered less than 20 years ago, some of which were discovered less than 5 years ago. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say not enough of you people are out here looking down, because oh my God, you would walk right by this thing. No problem, unless you were really dialed into, knowing what orchids look like. And it doesn't look like much right now, but we'll go see if we can find some flowers. So Neotia Bifolia, Southern Twayblade, not reported from this county in the Flora Nova Anglii, not reported from this county on Go Botany. Just, what the hell else is out there waiting to be discovered, guys? Imagine living out west. Imagine living in an actually a remote part of the world. I can fucking hear cars right now. It's just you gotta get into this shit, dude. You gotta get into this shit. I got a lot of problems going on right now. But goddamn, if I could not care less right now looking at this thing. And it's not even a showy orchid. It looks cool. We'll go see if we can find some more. From what I've read, these guys will kind of occur in colonies where you see one, you can usually find a few more. But then again, it is just that early in the season. But down south, this would already be, like, if you're down there in like Virginia, North Carolina, where this is a bit more common, you even get it up into it's even pretty abundant up through the Pine Barrens, and then it really kind of tapers off once you get northeast of New York City. What was I saying? Whatever. Yeah, it's one of the epidendroids. I think it's a lower epidendroid. I think it's actually in the same. It's not too distantly related from Smilaxini. I'll have to look there. Neotia. Maybe it's in its own subtribe. Definitely a lower epidendroid. I'll have to really get in there and figure out what's going on with the taxonomy here. I've never even encountered this genus before. It's one of the quote-unquote LGOs, little green orchids, just all around. It's goddamn exciting. So we'll cut it here. I'll go see if I can find some more. We'll see what we can do here. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, we haven't really seen it. Maybe we could just go back, cut it short. But, you know, still early in the day. Why not walk around? And you'll have to excuse me. No tripod right this second just because of where I'm standing, kind of in the muck. But what I did end up finding was basically a completely different type of swamp. We seem to have exited the red maple swamp and entered a northern white cedar swamp. Or not northern white cedar, Atlantic white cedar. Cypress Thyoides, which of course is not a cedar at all. Member of the family Cupressaceae. And let me get the zoom on so you can, you know, check out those nice, delicate needles. Of course, resembles a juniper, but it's not. You can tell that just from the fact it's growing right on the edge of a swamp, or in a swamp, I should say. And those needles are a lot more delicate than a juniper's needles would be. Any emergent cones on this? Not yet. Maybe they're higher up. But the bark on these, you know, like most members of Cupressaceae, yeah, there's a couple big ones back there. Get that nice, corky, stringy, you know, signature redwood family bark. Cypress is great. Again, another southern trending species. I guess not at the far northern extent of its range. But, oh yeah, it doesn't go into Canada. It stops in Maine, I think. But a staple of the coastal forests, coastal swamps of, you know, southern New England. Coming up with a Clethra ulnifolia. Those are last year's fruits. Not in Ericaceae, but closely related in Ericales. And, you know, you can tell that from the fruits. Flowers look a little different than your traditional ericaceous flowers, but Clethraceae, Cyrolaceae, and Ericaceae, I think are like the three basal, not basal, opposite of basal, terminal, you know, branches on the Ericales family tree. I'm doing the thing where I'm not showing material. It's equivalent to dead air, you know. Not showing anything while I'm talking is just as bad as dead air. So I wasn't coming through here looking for the Cypress. But, you know, anytime I come across a conifer, you don't just catch walking down the street. I like to stop and document it. These waders are a godsend, by the way. I'm just standing like an inch deep in muck. But, yeah. How do I get back out of here? Let's go figure that out. Yeah, close-up of that Cypress bark. Love this tree. Love the whole family. Big old, what are you, white pine? Big old Pinus strobus behind it. I'd call that a coniferous swamp. Yeah, I came across a little patch of Uvaria Cilia, not even open yet. What a cute little guy. These are great. Colchicaceae is the family. Same family as, is that saffron? I always forget. Colchium. I'll put it down below. This guy's definitely in Colchicaceae though. Uvaria perfoliata is a weird looking one. Uvaria grandiflora, I think I'm forgetting one. I think you get like 4 of them. But not what we're here to see. I'm kind of rip shit right now because I realized they had tire tracks and some of these, like this is like a makeshift trail through here. I've been doing a combination of bushwhacking and following these kind of sporadic trails through here. They ride ATVs on them. And I'm freaking the fuck out because I'm like, oh geez, what if they run over the fucking the little Twayblade? Freaking out, man. Whatever. I guess if the state doesn't know that they're here, they're gonna know after today. I'm gonna tell them. But you can ATV in here. No one's breaking any rules. I'm not nothing against ATVing. It's probably they weren't riding like jackasses. They're just, you know, exploring. I'm on the phone right now just for a second, just because I wanted to pull over and show you Viola. I didn't feel like pulling everything out. We're gonna double back. I'm gonna take one quick other little side trail here, see if I can see anything down there, and if not, I'm just gonna take really good GPS coordinates of the spot, make sure I really know where it is. I'll come back in a week or so. There was some other ones just really early on in development. That's the thing about orchids, especially this species, super ephemeral. Well, not all of them. A lot of them are super ephemeral. The Twayblades are notorious for it. So maybe we come back in a week or so, and at least one of them will be like in bloom. I'm still just fucking stoked they saw the thing. What are the odds? No coordinates. Nobody even told me that this is the site. And there's dudes wheeling around ATVs. Again, not being jackasses, just I got nothing. I grew up ATVing. I get it. This is a designated ATV trail. At least this part of this particular management area is. Hopefully, and based on what I know, there's populations of that orchid around that are, completely, you got to completely bushwhack out to find. I just got lucky that it was right on the side of one of these kind of entry trails. So with that, of course, comes with that convenience comes that risk that it could get, trampled. These things are tiny. I don't blame anybody for being able to see it, but that's why you got to promote the awareness of this sort of stuff. But I don't need to pontificate right now. I'll just go, we'll go try another little section of the swamp, see what's going on down there. And then in all honesty, I got to go see if I can find Claytonia virginica actually in bloom at another spot. We'll go explore. There might be some interesting stuff over there. But without further ado, I gotta go back to Massachusetts for that, though, to go to that spot. So without further ado, we're going to go see what else there is to see, and if not, I'll kind of cover any of the remaining swamp plants that I didn't talk about. The Ilex, mostly just the holly, the Ilex. It's a really cool plant. So, all right, let me put my phone down so I can actually see where I'm going here. Hey, so real quick, let me take a moment to talk about, some of the important tree species you've got coming up here in the swamp. Right here is one that, I wouldn't say it's unusual by New England standards, but I don't associate it with this region necessarily. I associate it more with upland, rich, this is certainly a rich swamp. It's plenty damp, but I digress. This is Betula alleghaniensis. This is the yellow birch, one of the more impressive and long-lived birch species. Of course, everybody's familiar with Betula papyrifera, the paper birch, and I'm a big fan of Betula populifolia, the gray birch or poplar birch, whatever the hell they want to call it. Of course, you also get black birch, sweet birch, river birch. You get a whole bunch of dwarf birches up in the alpine zone. Betula is a great genus. I think a lot of people write them off, but this is the one that if you're into, you're into more of the tree thing, more of the forest ecotone type thing, you gotta love Betula alleghaniensis. It's as the name implies, trademark species of the Northeast, Allegheny, of course, Allegheny Plateau. I think striped maple has that epithet too, Acer alleghaniensis, but whatever. I digress. So just one of the more robust, long-lived birches. I'm going to bring my camera up here so you can see the bark. The sheathing is not as dramatic as paper birch, but still does sheathe rather dramatically on some exceptionally old specimens. I mean, this can be like a 300-year-old tree. On some of the exceptionally old specimens, you get these really gnarled, root types where they've grown over the stump of a dead tree, and they look like they're on stilts. You see a bunch of that at Wachusett. In fact, this tree right here is all over Wachusett. Not quite as sheathing as like a paper birch, but still pretty impressive tree. Yellow birch, because it's got that yellow tinge to it. Of course, it's usually going to be much bigger than a paper birch. It gets up there in the canopy. I'm not even sure how shade tolerant it is in the grand scheme of things, but whatever. I digress. Over here, got the pardon me again, kind of one of the key components, of the swamp is you got this cluster of red maples, Acer rubrum. Again, this tree will grow pretty much everywhere and anywhere, but it's I think one of its most impressive and its admirable qualities is to tolerate the bullshit. Kind of like pitch pine. I love a tree as much as I love a tree or a plant in general that will only grow in one specific forest type or one specific habitat type. You gotta really appreciate the plants that kind of do it all. This, you'll have to pardon me, battery lost its charge there for a second. So, as I was saying, you get it Canadian Maritimes all down through Florida in a variety of different habitats. It's pretty much, as I've been told, the most common tree in the East. And, it's weird because it's an indicator species of a specific type of habitat, but it'll take pretty much anything. Hell, they even grow this as like a popular street tree even. So just one to know, one to really look out for. And then over here, I'm gonna show you one of the more impressive specimens, but I can kind of give you two examples. See that evergreen thing over there? That's Ilex opaca. That's the American holly right there. That's a real mean bastard. That's been absolutely everywhere. That, the red maple, white pine. I mean, I don't need to show you white pine. That's all the green up in the overstory there. If you can make that out. You get your white pine scattered through here. I even seen a couple pitch pines where it looks like it was cleared, but the pitch pines aren't. They don't do well in this kind of closed setting. If this was more of an open bog or like a fen, the pitch pines would probably be able to outperform the white pines, but it's a swamp, which kind of means you got a different soil chemistry going on. It might not necessarily be super alkaline or super acidic or super basic. It might be circumneutral, as they call it. But anyway, that's a decent sized one. I've seen some massive ones. I mean, they're back through here. I'll show you one. We'll pull up on one. But Ilex opaca, really unfriendly tree. Aquafoliaceae, I think I might have even said that before. In the family Ericales, distant relative of blueberries. And it's got that laurel-like habit to it. Beautiful tree. Little red berries are usually persistent over the winter, but I mean, I think at this point of the year, the birds have more or less picked them all clean. Great plant. Another one that does make it, planted ornamentally. Its natural range in New England is pretty much just the south and the coast. Obviously, take a wild guess. Obviously, a plant that's pretty prevalent down through Appalachia. Although some of the hollies, they're not, they're more southern trending. You get a ton of good diversity in that. I think it's just the one genus in the family, Ilex. Just tons of great diversity as you go down south. I've never seen them grow as trees until I got down in here. Usually people trim them into bushes, and indeed, I thought they were more of a sand, dry-loving plant, because I've seen them, that's what you have to hack through to get to the Malaxis bayardii site. And indeed, like all throughout, the Cape, Connecticut, Southern Mass, even up like Cape Ann, even like northeastern Massachusetts. You have to hack through a ton of this stuff to get to a lot of other interesting stuff. And I'll just show you. Oh, what's that down there? I thought I was looking at a trout lily for a second. Hopefully I didn't get in the camera there. Maybe you saw my hat. But yeah, that's what I'll take this thing off take the thing off the thing. That's what the leaves look like. And those are sharp as hell spines that this thing produces. I forget what the actual term would be. You don't want to get snagged on this. That's not a friendly plant. Rumor has it they do that in response to, herbivory from deer and stuff, and that there are ecotypes where they don't get spiny. I mean, there are entire species that don't get spiny, like Ilex verticillata, the inkberry or winterberry holly, whatever they, the different species. That one, of course, you get much further north. I think, I don't need to turn this into a whole rant about holly, but I think you get that one a bit further north. And then what's this over here? This is freaking me out. Is this a cool type of Smilax right here? Lots of lichen on these dead trees too. That's real nice. Oh, what's that down there? I think those are just greenbrier leaves. Come on. But they might be, if they're variegated, could that be? I think that's just regular greenbrier. I'll take a picture. Smilax, tons of this stuff too. Also mean. Also usually grows with the holly. Order of lilies. In fact, sister family to lilies. Greenbrier, catbrier. That's the sister family to lilies. A ton of shit that people call lilies, like daylilies. Not even in the same order necessarily. The one that really pisses me off is calla lilies, in Acer. They don't, at least with some of the other ones, I get it, they look like lilies, but a calla lily doesn't look anything like a goddamn lily. Or a water lily, no relation at all. But this is Smilax, Smilax rotundifolia, I think would be this one. The round-leaved greenbrier, although those leaves don't look round. There's a couple, maybe glauca, I don't know. There's a couple species. Carrion flowers, another one, Smilax herbaceae. If I remember that one, you got to give me credit. It's been a minute since I've seen that plant. I only saw it once, but anyway, that's the holly. I'll show you a more impressive holly on the way out. I'll just give you an idea how big those things actually get, because they're massive. And then we'll do one more check-in with our little orchid. Let me take a couple pictures of this. Obviously Smilax, but let me take a couple pictures of this, see if I can figure out what it is. I'm glad I saw this thing. And oh Jesus, really, it's like in a little cage too. Jeez, good thing I pulled over here. This is actually, I know what this is. This is Smilax glauca. This is a little bit more rare than the quote-unquote carrion flower, Smilax herbaceae, or Smilax rotundifolia greenbrier. They call this Sawbriar. And you can tell, because usually the leaves aren't quite as round as Smilax rotundifolia, but the leaves on Smilax rotundifolia can be quite variable. Usually it has a little bit of that variegation on top, and then sure enough, I check my little thing, it says flip it over. Does it have a white bloom on the underside? Come on, get my fat fingers out of the way. Sure enough, I don't know if that translates, but when I'm looking at it, it's got that white bloom. You know what I mean? Different leaf shape, white bloom underneath. Smilax glauca. I wonder if these leaves stayed on just because it's kind of been sheltered all winter. It's a deciduous plant, greenbrier, or just Smilax in general. Yeah, usually these guys, firedependentecosystem.com right there. Real nasty. Anyway, let's get back to the task at hand, if that's okay with all of you. Okay, so we just tooled around for a bit longer, and I found a couple more individual plants, but none in bloom, just kind of a little before where I found the original ones. So they're here. I'm not missing them because I saw new specimens before I refound the one I originally saw this morning, so that's good. I just don't think that they're very widespread through here. I think they're kind of just in this one area. But anyway, here's a close-up of an impressive Ilex opaca right here. Still has the nasty spinose leaves. Duck underneath them, don't get stabbed. And there's that bark. Real smooth. See, there's some abscission scars. Kind of look like eyes. Kind of creepy. Interesting plant. But yeah, I guess I'm so used to seeing them as shrubs. I didn't realize these guys, fully fledged trees apparently. Of course, you got yellow birch behind us, white pine scattered around. No hemlock. But cool. I guess over here it doesn't even really feel like a swamp over here. It feels more like a damp forest. But I digress. Let me show you one of the other sympatric species that's been coming up with I've seen it all day, but it seems to be here too. Somebody mentioned this in the initial kind of post that gave me the idea to come out here in the first place, that this Coptis trifolia was growing alongside this thing too. So I'll go show you that. And yeah, there's a nice yellow birch right through there. These are the white pine. These are white pines right here. Pinus strobus. You got the party of getting over something. So we'll just have to come back. I'll go show you. I'll go show you one last shot of the Twayblade, and then I'll show you this Coptis here. But I don't think it's going to be in bloom. I've seen 3 of them now in bud, and the first one we saw is actually the farthest along I've seen of any of them. I know somebody got it in bloom last year in the 22nd, but you know what? I don't think this is the same site that they found. I think this is either they know this one or they didn't post about this one, or I just through sheer dumb luck managed to find a new location in the general vicinity. I think. You know, you got to obscure your locations on INAT. You got to, as painful as it is to say, you got to kind of throw people off your trail. You know, not everybody has good intentions. Not everybody, you know, it's people keep secrets for the wrong reason, and people don't keep secrets sometimes for the right reason, but it lets nefarious actors kind of get access to these rare plants. Anybody who's willing to spend, geez, what time is it now? It's almost 2 in the afternoon. I don't believe anybody willing to spend 4 hours sweating in waders through a swamp like me would have, you know, nefarious intentions. I'm just trying to show you this thing because this is a cool. Obviously, I'm an orchid guy. Cool story to the plant too. Not even known really. Not even really a New England plant. Just kind of waif for a long time, or maybe not. Waif is the wrong word. Disjunct for a long time in one specific location. Oh, actually, right here. Here's a. Oh, there's another one. That's the 4th one I've seen in bud. Or maybe not. Maybe that's the one I just walked by a minute ago. Hang on. Okay, hang on. Let me get down here. I lost it. I can't kneel down because I can't see the damn thing. And if I can't see, there it is. Okay, real quick, okay. So this is a plant. You would have seen it. I put this in a video that came out a little earlier. This is, sorry, I didn't bring the tripod. I didn't realize I was gonna cut the film. I thought I was just gonna show you that Ilex. So this is Cypress Thyoides. Ranunculaceae is the family. Nice early spring ephemeral. 3-leaved golden thread. Those little things, I'm going to give you the same spiel I did in the last video this is in. So those little yellow things there, those aren't anthers. Those are actually the petals. The anthers are those little white things on the end of the filaments. Green multicarpal ovary in the middle there. You probably can't even make that out. Let's see if we can go in further. Sorry, yeah, that's nice. Those are the styles there, how they hook back. That's really cool. And uniseriate. So you only get, those are the sepals, not the petals. Look at all those anthers in there. Cool family, Ranunculaceae. You get some anemonoides, quinquefolia growing around here too. Those are what the leaves look like. See how it gets that name, trifolia. 3-leaved golden thread. And then, ooh, actually this one's a little bit further along than the others. You can just see how tiny of a little shit these are. Put my hand behind it for scale. Tiny little guys. This one's actually pretty far along. Pardon my really sloppy etiquette for just a moment here. Yeah, this guy, yeah, inferior ovary. That's an orchid if I ever saw one. Little inferior ovaries. These guys will be unfurling this week, I hope. Come back. Ain't too far out of the way. Get some buddies over here in this part of the state. Real interesting, not a basal leaf, but sometimes they come up through like sphagnum. That's the other thing. None of these have been grown out of moss, like they said they were. And I mean, I'm not mistaking this thing with any other plant, at least as far as I know. You know, Neotia, Liparis, Listera. These are all just genera that, if they're not Twayblades, some people call them fen orchids. But that real weird little LGOs, super hard to find. And usually they're pretty rare too. So they get the double whammy, being rare, being hard to find. And I just love that. Any sort of clasping leaf action you get in an orchid. Of course, a lot of them do it. Some of them even just look like grass until the flowers unfurl. But you'll have to take my word for it for now. So hopefully we can come back in a few days, in a week, and catch this thing in bloom. But I'm shocked. Last year, the pictures I saw that even got me sniffing around this area had this thing. This thing was in bloom on the 22nd, and we're past that now. But I mean, what are you going to do? In its known location up in Vermont, it doesn't bloom till like the end of May, early June. I don't believe it. That's a much higher elevation, much further inland, much further north. We're not that far really from where this tapers off, from where it gets never really abundant, but it does occur in some well-known, there's some sites where you can go in and there's like 40 observations on iNaturalist, like down in New Jersey, you get down to the Carolinas. I'll just generally put up the distribution map. It's not gonna, where this isn't even gonna show up as a blip on there, but you gotta come out and you gotta try to find this shit. I don't think this is where it was growing out of peat moss where they saw it. Maybe it's just more abundant, and once you start sniffing in the right areas, it pops up. Massachusetts is the most well botanized state in the country. We have more state botanists per square mile or per capita, I forget which it is, working, and there's still so much shit. There's still so much shit to come out and document. So let that be a moral to you. Cool little ecosystem through here. Love this habitat. I'll come back here. We'll get some better pics. Maybe some of the ericaceous plants in here will be going off. There's a ton of stuff in here that's just completely bald still. It's April. Stuff ain't even leafing out yet. Neotia Bifolia. Hopefully I can come back and get money shots for you. Get some good close-up shots. The flowers opened. If not, you know what? I can just go get one of the ones that's on public domain. I can just ask somebody if they'd let me use a picture. Coptis trifolia. A plant that I've... Ooh, a little spider on me. Cute little guy. A plant that I've now come to associate with a lot of other cool plants. This has been a nice... I've been seeing you in a lot of places where some good shit's growing, so maybe keep an eye out. But, yeah, we'll cut it off there for now, I think, unless I miraculously stumble across one in bloom. This is the furthest one along I've seen. Not the biggest one, just the furthest one along I've seen. Okay, here we are, about a week later. And as you can see from those little forked labellum there, labellae? I don't know what the plural for labellum would be, but the target plant of my recent infatuation, Neotia Bifolia, is now in bloom. Take a good look there. Really soak it in. So those two forks down below, that'd be your labellum. That's your technically upper petal, but you got to remember orchids are most of the time are supinate, meaning that the flowers are technically upside down. But whatever. Dorsal sepal up top. What I can only imagine are the lateral petals there sticking out either side. There's that little pollinia and column in the middle there. And yeah, you can see it a little better on the one above. Ovary right behind. And I guess you also have your lateral sepals there. Real borderline unimpressive floral morphology for an orchid, but you know, these things are just, what's it doing? You know what I mean? Again, just to reiterate, this species wasn't even known from the state until like 2000, and has only in the last couple of years come to be known from this location here. So happy I got the chance to just fly down here. Kind of busy right now, but you know, come down and check the thing out. Ever so slight pubescence going up the stem. These aren't even in full bloom yet. I had seen them posted from this time last year in full bloom. And again, it's one of those plants where you walk around, you don't see it, and you're like, oh shit. And then you really get dialed in for it, or you, more importantly, you get down to eye level with it. And I mean, just where I'm at, there's one coming up to my left. It's just barely in bud. Both over there. You probably can't even see those, but there's two of them over there. Two of them right there. All kind of not really in bud. There's one behind me. I see the little leaves poking out of the ground. Little bifoliate. That's where it gets that epithet, bifolia. There's that little one. Ow. I just stabbed myself in some greenbrier. Just coming out of bud. So they're here. And at least for the time being, they seem to be doing pretty well. I'm just, you know, I talked to my orchid buddy about this, and he was kind of shocked when I sent them pictures, when I told them I found the darn thing. What's this one? Is this one already wrapped up behind me? Oh no, that's in bud. So, I mean, these things are just freaking diminutive. Like, try to put my hand, there's no easy way to do it. Just stick my hand, get the whole thing in frame. There we go. Like, there's my thumb. Here's my thumb for scale. You get the idea. There we go, that's better for scale. So they're not that big. Kind of hard to see. Kind of unremarkable in appearance, but by God, no one's going to come out and find the stuff unless it's you. I'll say it again. You know, you have to be willing to, if you're going to do this, come out here, drive an hour and a half from where you were, to come take 5 minutes of footage to follow up on a plant you spent 5 hours searching for the previous week. Which, to me, sounds like a blast, but to a lot of people, that might not be that incentivizing. But that's why I'm out here doing this, documenting it, hopefully discovering new populations, setting plots aside for future conservation when possible, and even if not possible, at least making sure that there's a historical record of this stuff being here. Might have been cool to see a little bit further along in bloom, but you want to know what? We'll take what we can get. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Still, just absolutely in love with this habitat. Pine, that's a holly right in front of us. Yellow birch, red maple. You know, really cool area. Cama cypress if you go farther in here. But now, of course, now I'm sitting here and I'm realizing I'm surrounded by these little twayblades. But that's a great way to start. This time last year, I shot a really good video. I watched use it and deleted it. But this I kind of like even better. Anyway, gotta go follow up on, I think, one other plant. That's also been kind of new for this season, as I've had to really make sure that I go back and follow up on stuff. But I gotta go get some good pictures of Acer canadens. I might just do that tomorrow or some other day. But for now, that's about all I got. Get out here, you know? Start paying attention. You don't have to be a scientist. Scientists usually, professional ones, usually don't seem to be the people discovering this stuff. So on that note, we're going to leave it there. Have a fantastic day.